No sniffing. No farting, no sniffing. You can
Let
wait.
me live, man.
No.
Let me live.
For 1 hour, you cannot be who you are until we're done.
Do you know how we were talking about toys last time?
Yeah, we were talking about toys last
I got
time.
you some toys.
You got me some toys.
I gave some toys.
What? In your Walt Disney Pictures shell bag?
So,
Not a sponsor.
what would you like?
What do you mean, what would I like?
So, I think within the theming of last week's episode,
yeah.
we talked about the Hot Wheels movie.
Yeah.
And I was in town the other day and I saw some Hot Wheels for sale.
Okay.
And I thought,
Just out of
I thought
how
Gav will
expensive are Hot Wheels that they're on sale?
well, it was 3 for 2.
Okay.
So I spent less
So
than
you-
a $5 on these.
So you splurged on me.
Splurged. So I got you these Hot Wheels.
You actually got me Hot Wheels.
Yeah, I got some Hot Wheels.
Oh.
One's a cool experiment car that can go upside down
Ooh.
and keep going.
That's like something at Fast and Furious.
And it's cool, right? It's like a movie car. I felt like that one's in the Hot Wheels. That would be in a Hot Wheels movie. The other one
It's even cooler.
is even cool. It's just a hot dog.
It's a hot dog.
It's a hot dog Hot Wheels.
I'm going to try and... I'm going to zoom in on me with my hot dog car.
Hold it closer to the camera. Show them.
No, because I'll just cut in.
Just push it out. Let it nice and big. The hot dog car, I'll be honest, I think the hot dog car might be the goddamn coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's got notice it's got a grill on the back?
I saw that it's got...
Instead of a spoiler, the spoiler is a grill.
But the question, why does it have jalapenos on it?
Because it's a spicy dog, it says that.
Oh.
It's the street wiener.
Here's the flippin' fast car that Gary got me.
It can go up or down. But that's not all.
There's more?
Yeah. Remember I said when I was in Tesco and I got us a treat?
Yeah.
We have fugglers.
What the fuck is a fuckler?
It's a fug. It's a funny, ugly monster. Which one would you like?
You bought
Which one would you like? Would you like left or right?
I'm right-handed, so I'll go right.
There's rarities of fugglers.
Are we doing a
Doing a live opening of the
we're doing a
Fuggler.
live opening of the Fuggler.
I'm very excited. These have been in my car for 2 weeks.
You do yours first. Yeah. What is
God,
that?
he's a Fuggler.
He looks like
He's a little Fuggler.
God, you're still so unwell.
Oh, he's so...
He looks like a melted lollipop.
He looks baked beyond his...
He
looks like he's had an edible.
He looks like you after a couple of gummies.
He looks like he's had more than one edible. He looks beyond
I'm
it.
going to open my Fuggler now.
Go for it. Open the Fuggler.
Satisfying noise.
Remember, if you don't speak into that microphone, no one can hear what you say.
That was a satisfying noise.
Whoa.
don't-
What'd you get? That looks like...
It looks like me.
That looks like if...
My Fuggler.
That looks like if Sully from Monsters, Inc.
Yes.
had
ran over.
forced himself on Boo.
Oh, no.
And they created a horrible hybrid.
I was going to say, like, it's like an incestuous Sully. Of like, this is what comes.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm aiming. It's not great. It's
Yeah, we're not going for, like, child endangerment. We're going for Sully slept with his
horrid.
sister and gave birth to that.
He's horrid.
That's definitely horrid. Yours is somehow less horrid than mine.
My little guy's cute. Anyway, I'm going to set all this stuff up on the table, and there's your toys from last week. There you go. Fugglers and Hot Wheels.
Play the intro.
The Meandering Movie Podcast, airing through your ears. Gavin brings the brains and laughs and edits through the tears. Gary's got the chaos and the taste that's razor sharp. Together they're a double act, a podcast work of art. From deep dives to wild rides, no film is left unturned. Gavin tries to keep the structure tight while Gary lets it burn. One's the calm, the other's storm. Listening if you dare. When they talk, you'll laugh so hard, you'll get for some air. The Meandering Movie Podcast. Yeah!
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to talk about the Mission Impossible franchise. Welcome back to the Meandering Movie Podcast. This is episode 3 of season 4 of the Meandering Movie Podcast. In the last episode, we talked about turning toys into movies. In this episode, what are we going to do, Gary?
Definitively rank the Mission Impossible movies, starting at 1 and finishing with Final Reckoning. I think it's the first one is called Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Mission 1 Possible.
That's right. We're going to rank every Mission Impossible movie. This is the definitive ranking. We've done these before. We've done Wait, what's your name?
I'm Gary Coleman Void.
I am the Impossible Gavin. Hey, this.
I thought you were going to do like a Gavin Hunt.
Gavin Cunt.
I thought you were going to say Gavin Hunt, and then I was going to say Gavin Hunt, the smelly cunt. But you ruined my own joke by self-burning yourself.
Right through yours. I got to myself first. In this episode of the Meandering Movie Podcast, we're going to give the definitive ranking, which we have done before.
Definitive.
For the Spider-Man franchise, I definitively ranked them. Mm-hmm. Then I ranked definitively the Harry Potter franchise.
And then I did Predator.
And then you incorrectly and wrongfully and never...
It's definitive. You agreed. The Meandering Movie Podcast definitively ranked Predator. You can't go back on it.
And the Alien movies.
And the Alien films.
And now I am back to definitively rank the Mission Impossible franchise.
I'm also going to rank the Mission Impossible films.
You've not seen them all yet, though.
I can do it. I can do up to 7.
Do you want to tell us your Mission Impossible journey?
My Mission Impossible, which I chose to accept.
Just tell us your journey first.
I saw Mission Impossible, maybe, which was the one with the bombs in the brains?
3.
I watched Mission Impossible 3 in school for some reason. So it came out, and I don't know why they showed us it, but I watched.
It's a good movie.
It's a good film. I watched it, but it was in school. So I distinctly remember the bomb blowing up the blonde woman's eye, and her eyes go goofy.
Kerry Russell, who's in every J.J. Abrams movie, I think. But that's just a...
And that was pretty much it. I know some of the kind of big set pieces. Who doesn't? Mission Impossible, especially the main one, which is Mission Impossible 1, where he comes from the ceiling. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it.
It's like synonymous in pop culture.
Yeah, like it's huge.
Chicken Run or Wallace and Gromit have done their versions of it. Everyone's done their version. I wouldn't be surprised if someone knows that the reference but thinks it's like a Family Guy thing. Yeah.
Do you know, like it's so big, so many things reference it, or it's just like a generic spy thing, but it does come from the first Mission Impossible film.
I think I recently saw it was like an Activia advert or some like food product advert, and there's a thing in the back trying to like Mission Impossible down to steal the food. It's still being used everything today.
Right. It's huge. So knew that. I don't think I'd ever seen Mission Impossible 1. If I had, I couldn't remember it. Then maybe seen 2. Definitely saw 3 in school. Nothing past that. We decided to record this, and Gav was like, "Can you watch all the films before the episode?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, 100%."
And to be fair, you got further than I thought you would.
And to be fair, I made a concerted effort to do so. So I said it like a month ago, started a week and a half ago.
Yep. So classic Gary of like, "Hey Gary, could you watch all of these?" I gave you over a month. And as usual, despite my lead up,
I left it to the last minute.
You left it to the last minute.
I gave it a week and a half for 8 films. I thought that was good going for even for me.
But
usually I would have texted you being like, "Hey, my Mission Impossible 1's great" last night, and you would have gone, "What do you mean Mission Impossible 1's great?" And I would have gone, "Oh, I've just started them. I'm going to fire through them tonight," and then fallen asleep at 12 and
only have seen like 1.5.
Yeah, exactly. However,
you saw 7 of the 8.
I watched 7 of the 8. And I think we could just jump off there. So I'm versed, I'm ready, and I'm also fresh-brained about it.
Yeah, for me, I fucking love this franchise so much. I think all the way back into the beginning of this podcast in 2018 when we started, or 19, I've been talking about these movies and this franchise. Every year one of them comes out, I'm always talking about it and telling you about it. I vehemently believe, and I have said year after year, everywhere I can say it, I think this is one of the greatest action franchises that has ever occurred. And I still believe this. And now finally we are here to talk about definitively rank the Mission Impossible franchise.
So on the back of that, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do film by film? Do you want to just go through 1 to 8, talk about them, and then rank them? I
think we should just go through the ranking, and through the ranking we can talk about the films, because otherwise we're going to get bogged down and then end up repeating ourselves.
I'm going to tell you this though.
Okay.
And this is the final step of this story for Quizmaster Gary. For Gary. You can call me Quizmaster Gary. Final step of this story. After watching Mission Impossible 1 and then 2 and 3, I was like, oh, Christ.
I don't know if I can do this.
Like, oh, Christ. I might actually just patch 4, 5, 6, or like read them on Wikipedia and I'll just tell Gavin I watched them and I'll just fucking... Whatever. He'll never know the difference.
Oh, I would know.
You wouldn't. And I was like, I might do it. And I thought, no, I said I'd do it. I'll at least watch 4. That's halfway through it. If they're not speaking to me by the 4th film.
Yeah.
at that point, there's no saving it.
It's so fair.
Then I'm just like forcing myself to watch them. Holy fuck! The change, the gear shift in 4 is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And I like from 4 onwards went from being like a kind of like semi-active passenger who is a bit like, oh cool, yeah, I'm Ethan Hunt and he's angry and it's Tom Cruise running, and in this one they've got 1 million masks, then in the third one Philip Seymour Hoffman's here and it's cool and it's getting a bit interesting, but it still feels like just a bit of a generic spy thriller and there's not much going on. And then 4, it's like, and I was like, wow, this is incredible.
What you could describe it as is it's like a roller coaster, but for you, the first 3, because this might not be the case for me, these movies might rank,
true.
but for the first 3, you're like on the ascent to get to the top. And then when 4 hit for you, you're like, whoa, you're into the fucking...
I think the first one was like an ascent, and then the second one was a
descent.
Not a descent, because a descent would be fun on a roller coaster.
Okay.
Just a plateau.
Okay.
Just like the roller, you went up a little bit, and then inertia just kept you going on a straight roller coaster track for a solid hour and 50 minutes, I think that film is.
Yeah.
And then 3 was a rise again.
And you're like, oh, we're off again.
Anyway, hit me. Let's go. Let's rank these motherfuckers.
Let's begin the defensive ranking.
We're starting at the bottom.
We're starting in 8th place.
I know what's in 8th place.
What do you think is in 8th place?
Just said it. Number 2. It's fucking
You're not
arse.
wrong. 8th place is Mission Impossible 2.
So I do think that talking about Mission Impossible 2, you need to have the slight thing you need to know for anyone that's not seen these films, and I will
Or can't remember them because a lot
can't
of them
remember
can
them
fade into one another.
as the kind of passenger, as the newbie to this, because I am with you. I'm the newbie.
I've been there since the beginning.
What I'll say about Mission Impossible 2, which I think is the imperative thing, and the reason it sucks so much ass, is a key part of Mission Impossible 1 is the masks. And I assume, I've never seen the TV show, but I assume Mission Impossible there's a lot of the mask stuff in the TV show.
Yeah.
Hence it being
The TV show from the
recurring-
60s, we should say.
Yeah, right?
Which this is all based on.
So I assume that's a big thing, which is why it's big in the first film, and then in the second film, who directed the second one?
The second one is John Woo.
John Woo. John Woo was like, "What can I do?" Well, Mission Impossible. It's all about masks, right? Someone went, "No, it's not all about masks," and he went, "Yeah, it is." And then just fucking done a million like, who's this guy? Well, that's the main villain. Psych, it's a guy in a mask. All right, what about this guy? Oh, it's the hero. Psych, it's a guy in a mask. What about this one? Well, that's the love interest. Psych, it's a guy in a mask.
They go off the rails
Holy
with
fuck.
the masks.
And I think I text you at the time, and it's so egregious because the first one, when it eventually happens at the end, you're like, oh, is that him, or it's got to be Ethan Hunt maybe in the mask? You never quite know. In the second one, there were already so many like gotcha, it's someone else in a mask moments that by the end, when it's like, holy fuck, Ethan Hunt is getting blasted to shit. I will give it credit for a split second. I was like, oh, fuck me, like full send. Like, even though I know there are 6 more films, I was like, oh, Jesus, he just blasted the fuck out of him. And then I was like, oh, no, wait, it's a guy. Like, of course, there's going to be a guy in a mask.
It is a movie that by the end, you're like, I don't trust anything or anyone. Like, you're just like, is everyone a mask?
To its detriment, though. Like, it doesn't use it well enough.
It takes it too far. Yeah. But here's what I'm going to say about Mission Impossible 2 and every Mission Impossible movie. Even though this is 8th place, it's bottom of the ranking, I think this and all of them are all great movies.
I wouldn't say 2's great. No. I'm going to come at you here. I would say 2 is maybe a 4-5.
A 4 or 5?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
No. I think nothing is under a 6 in this franchise.
No, 2 is. 2 is.
Maybe 2 isn't great, but 2 is still good. And here's the great thing about 2, it's rewatchable. Like all of these movies. Because it is though, here, for me it is, I should say, is that opening is great. That's like the first like big Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt stunt of him actually hanging off the rocks and everything. Like
with that bit where he flips and he's doing like a Jesus hold.
Yeah, and he's doing and the music, and then the crash zoom into him, and it's all like, ooh.
I'm going to counter that and say, if you're going to do this, guys, if you're going to watch the Mission Impossible films, watch 1, don't watch 2, go straight into 3.
Watch 2.
You don't need to.
2 is so much fun in also, terms of schlocky nonsense.
It's actually also complete, like of all of them, 1 and 3 onwards have relevance in the later films. And 2, completely brushed aside.
Two is
it's got no standing, no relevance. The only thing that 2 has a knock-on effect on is that they learned not to put everyone in a fucking mask.
2 is where they learned a lot of mistakes to not make.
Yeah.
And 2 is definitely the one that they never, and I, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they ever call back to it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's 1 and 3 have got callbacks in the later films. 2 is the only one that it just happened. And Ethan Hunt has scrubbed it from his memory.
Let's also not forget, rest in peace to Dougray Scott's career, because he chose to be the villain in this movie rather than be Wolverine in the X-Men movies.
Which is, I think it's a blessing for everyone involved, because he would have killed the X-Men universe as well.
You think Dougray Scott would have killed the X-Men universe?
It's not a great villain. The other problem with 2 is, and this is a slight offshoot from 1, I think. So... And this is, I'm trying not to talk too much about 1, but I feel like it's impossible to not talk about 1 because
we might get to it soon.
It's the direct sequel. So 1 is definitely trying to be like a spy thriller, and James Bond would have been huge at the time.
James Bond, like 1996 is when the first one came out.
So Brosnan's Bond would have been in full swing by that point.
I think
right?
GoldenEye was coming out, hadn't come out yet.
Okay. That actually works even more. So this was trying to be like a straight spy thriller, number 1. 2 comes out, and it's very clearly been painted by the James Bond, like slightly campy, goofy, gadgety.
Also keep in mind, this is John Woo's second movie in America. I think it was either this than Face Off or Face Off than this. I can't remember the way it came around. But this is John Woo's, like, he's still young in terms of American cinema, whereas he's established in Asian cinema. So it's him trying to also, there's like a lack of translation, really, of like John Woo's cinema style didn't really translate into this franchise, and it felt like a franchise harping on another style rather than blending it in well, because John Woo's love for slow motion, doves, hair flicks.
The doves. Doves are very funny.
The doves, when he's running through the sewer and the doves are coming up, you're like, it's hokey and it doesn't really work in this franchise.
Yeah, in a sewer as well. There's so many things that you watch and you're like, oh, I guess that was cool. And then the moment you apply even the smallest amount of thought power to it, you're like, why the fuck were there 5 doves in the sewer?
Yeah.
Where'd they come from? And then, I don't know. And it's like the big combination. Like I said, he blasts John, you think Ethan Hunt's getting murdered, which is it would have been a great moment if they hadn't ripped the ass out of the masks. But I think there are, I know I was being a bit hyperbolic at the beginning there, but I think there are genuinely about 4 gotcha
big mask pulls. Yeah, the one where it's like Dougray Scott is as Ethan Hunt trying to trick Tandy Newton.
Yep.
And then there's the one at the beginning, obviously, in the plane.
One in the plane where it's Dougray Scott as Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Then there's the one as Dougray Scott as Ethan Hunt again. Mm-hmm. And those ones...
Mad they do it twice.
Mad they do it. The first one is like a big, like, oh, wow. So the second one, it's not Ethan Hunt. It's Doug. I think it's pretty clear. But then there's the... No, that's the third one.
Well, but there's the one
there's so many fucking mask pulls.
Is there not someone dressed as the scientist who's got the mask?
There's so many. There is too many. But
who is the one I've watched the least? But it is still, well, that's not true.
The henchman as Ethan Hunt. There's just so many Ethan Hunt masks kicking around, and it's also the one where they brought in the vocal thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's definitely. I'm with you. I'm happy putting this here.
Eight.
It's number 8 on the list.
The ending is great. Slow motion motorbike fight scene, knife to the eye, and
yes.
And Tom Cruise trained. So they did a trick where instead of him trying to push the knife towards his eye, it's a trick where it's someone's trying to pull it away and he's pushing it or something. Like, they do a trick so the knife was actually that close to his eye, and they put like a little gimbal in place to like protect him. But he was like, that shot, you're just like, yeah, he did that, because
that's cool.
And that's something we're also going to talk more about as these films go on, is Tom Cruise's commitment to these movies.
Yeah, he's a fucking crazy
insane boy. But yes, 8th place, Mission Impossible 2.
Comfortably 8th.
7th place. This is where things are going to get a bit...
I've got my thought.
Yeah.
I think my thought would piss people off.
Stick with me. 7th place is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Yes. Now for you, this is the ascent.
I think Ghost Protocol is where it gets very good.
Yeah. For me, Ghost Protocol is very good. This
I think it's crazy you're putting it above Mission Impossible 3.
let's get there, you know?
Ooh,
Because again, I don't think there's a bad film in this franchise.
Yeah.
I think they're all Mission Impossible 2 is good. Everything else is great. This movie is great. It's so rewatchable.
Yep.
The Kremlin stuff, great. The Burj Khalifa stuff, great.
Yep.
The running out of the Burj Khalifa into the sandstorm, what a sensational
Fantastic.
run. The introduction of Jeremy Renner, big thumbs
Very
up.
cool.
Enjoyed it.
Very good. I was glad that he didn't come back because he's in 2, isn't he?
He's in Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation.
And Rogue Nation doesn't
Yeah.
come back for Fallout.
No.
Which is a shame because he was good. I was a fan of the Jeremy Renner
I think
character.
there's like behind the scenes reasons of like money and Marvel is why he can come out. But for me, Ghost Protocol is, from like a character standpoint and a story standpoint, so forgettable that I can never.
I will give you this because this was what I was going to say. I really enjoyed Ghost Protocol, and I think it's where it starts revving up.
Yeah.
And I was going to add this caveat myself. It kind of is like, oh, this is getting good again. But then it's also like, because of 5 and 6, which we're kind of jumping ahead a wee bit. For me, 4, 5, 6 feel like its own little trilogy. Like you got Mission Impossible 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Finding its footing. Then you got 4, 5, 6, which is like a very fucking awesome little trilogy of films. Which, if you weren't ever going to watch any other
You mean
Mission
5, 6,
Impossibles,
7?
no, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, you think like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because then 7 and 8 are its like
I guess
own
yes,
little
7 and 8,
duology,
yeah.
you know. But if you weren't going to watch, if you were like, oh, I want to watch the Mission Impossible, I want to get the best of the best. And I feel like it's 1, 2, 3. Then I feel like you get 4, 5, 6 as it's. You could just watch 4, 5, 6. You don't actually need it.
You
anything
could
else.
absolutely, yeah.
You should, but you could just watch 4, 5, 6, and then you could watch 7, 8 as its like standalone thing. And 4, 5, 6, you're right. 4 is probably the weakest of the 3. It's still very good.
Still great.
But I'm actually trying to remember now. Like Jeremy Renner gets introduced.
There's,
I'm
like,
trying to remember the bits I remember really well because I really enjoyed it. They write out the masks very quickly because when they're in there, they're like, we can do a mask, and then the machine just like
yeah, it gets fucked up.
blows up, and he's like, I don't know what happened. He's like, so we don't have the mask. He's like, we'll have to do it without. And I was like, there you go. And the voice fucking things don't work. The woman kicking I need her alive, and then she kicks her out of the fucking
what's
window
her name?
in Dubai.
Oh,
It's so cool.
I can't remember the actress, but she was then later in the Bond movies. French actress. Oh, that's going to destroy me. I can't remember her name. But she's a villain in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like she's in the Burj Khalifa area where they're trying to like exchange diamonds for something.
That whole sequence as well. Like that whole
Great.
sequence is
Great.
where they're trying to trick the terrorist into, because nobody's met anyone at that point in the film except Ethan Hunt and the team know everyone. So they're like, right, we're gonna pretend to be the terrorists and trick this woman into thinking that she's dealing with the terrorists. You are going to go and pretend to be this woman with a different group of terrorists. We're going to relay the conversation that we're having on this floor down on this floor, and then we're going to then have what the terrorists say back to that woman.
It's so great.
It's intense.
It's
You're like,
something that I
"Oh."
love about this franchise is it's able to do a lot and make it so understandable.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of this comes because this is the first movie where Chris McQuarrie was involved. He was like a consultant producer writer. He came in and apparently, like, this is a famous story now that everyone's heard, but like the thing that he offered when they were doing the glove thing was like, blue is glue, red is dead.
Yeah.
And he said that out loud, and Tom Cruise was just like, you're never leaving this franchise ever again. I'm just like they.
There is one moment that annoyed me when I was watching Ghost Protocol, though, was with the gloves. Funnily enough, one fucks up, and he's like, and he rips it off and throws it to the wind, and then it cuts back inside, and Benji's there, and he's like, something's fucking up, and then some other shit happens, and it cuts back outside, and it shows Tom Cruise like ascending, and he goes up like another floor, and then the glove is stuck to the window, and he's like, and he rips it off and throws it away, and I was like,
why didn't you put it back on?
No, but he threw it away earlier. It's a weird. It's such a big oversight from like a continuity point of view. So he throws it away, and then they have a wide shot of the glove flittering off the fucking Burj Khalifa, whatever the fuck it is, the tallest
Burj
building
Khalifa,
in Dubai,
yeah.
flies away. Then a minute and a half
we
later,
don't know how the wind works up.
2
that
minutes
high.
later, he goes back up and it's stuck to the window. And I was like, oh, is it a gag? I went back. I actually rewound it because I was like, what the fuck just happened?
You're like, did
there?
I miss something?
And it doesn't play it like Tom Cruise kind of being like, how the fuck did you get that? And you're stuck again. He just rips it off and goes like, man. But it's not quite a gag. It's not quite. Anyway, what I liked about 4, a big thing I liked about 4, which is why I'd rate it slightly higher, is I think 4 is where Mission Impossible also starts finding its own footing.
Yeah, like it finds its kind of rhythm and tone.
It's got solid action pieces.
Action are so good.
You're right. It simplifies some like quite complicated, and I think you are actually right now that I'm thinking about it. 4 is forgettable, not because it's a forgettable story, but maybe there is too much, and it does a good job of explaining it, but also there is so much going on that it's hard to keep track of.
I couldn't tell you who the villain is, what the villain wants to do, and the end set piece where they're like in a car park having a fight. I can't tell you why they're fighting in that multi-story car park.
But then there's like those real, again, iconic moments where he's looking at the body and he's like, "Fuck, there's the deadlock receiver."
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the word, and he's like, "How do I get there?" And he just fucking is like, "Well, I'll just drive a car down there and I'll use the airbag as my insurance."
It is like,
it's some good moments.
The mindset of Ethan Hunt is always, I need to get a thing or get somewhere, and the way I'm going to do it is going to fucking suck, and it's going to be impossible, but I'm just going to fucking do it. So he's just like, just going to drive the car off.
I use the airbag as my insurance. It's fucking great. But yeah, I think the key thing with Ghost Protocol, and this is genuinely a key thing, which then gets better. They from this point especially, they nail it for me anyway. They find the right balance of humor.
Yeah, especially with Jeremy Renner coming in. Good. He's got good comic timing.
And it's the comic timing, but it's also
Benji.
Throughout all of them, they never, like, they do gags. And it's never like, Mission Impossible, we're not doing gags. Every film they're like, we're gonna, it's action pieces, but also there's a few gags. But the gags are always just good and they're never overstated.
Yeah.
You occasionally get one thing which feels a little bit too MCU, J.J. Abrams quippy, but there are so few and far between that they're passable. They're not the norm. The norm is just like, that was funny.
My favorite joke moment from Ghost Protocol is after Ethan Hunt's done the entire Burj Khalifa thing and he falls, they drag him in, they're all like, out of breath. Benji, who's just been on computer the whole time, runs in and goes, "That was tough, but I got it done." What happened to you guys? And like, they've just had an almost life-ending moment where they've all been dragged out of a window and fallen to their death. So he's just like, "I got it done."
I don't know. I can't remember what the bit is that, again, because they have blurred, and I'm sorry, but there's a moment with Jeremy Renner near the beginning where Ethan Hunt says or does something, and it's just a shot of Jeremy Renner going like, "Huh," and that creased me. I was like, "That's fucking hilarious. That's so fun." Oh no, I remember exactly what it is. Sorry, and it's not. I don't even think it's necessarily meant to be funny. Right at the beginning, is this Ghost Protocol where he's on the plane and he's like, "Benji, open the door."
Oh, that's Rogue Nation.
Is that Rogue Nation?
Yeah.
I'll wait then.
Yeah, because we'll get there.
Right. Anyway, I personally would rank this one higher. For reasons I've stated, I can understand though.
The only reason it brings it down for me is just that story, those characters, villainous wise, I just can never remember it. Even though I've seen the movie 4 times at this point, it always fades from my brain.
I can understand that. Right. Next.
6 on the list. Number 6 is Final Reckoning. Final Reckoning is 6 on the list. This is the only one you haven't seen, so we won't talk too much about it.
Well, no, if you want to go for it, like.
But there's a very, very crucial reason why Final Reckoning comes 6th place for me. The movie's 3 hours long.
It's a long run time.
Long run. The longest of all of them.
To go further into, so I finished watching Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I was going to ask you about that. I assume they decided to just cap this off and change the name rather than making it Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Which I can go into details when we get to.
So I finished watching Fallout last night at around.
You mean Dead Reckoning?
No, I finished watching Fallout last night at about 11 o'clock.
All right, okay.
And I was like, oh man, that was fucking awesome. And I was like, I said I was going to try and get through 7 of these. I'd already texted you being like, I'm not going to make 8. And I'd made my bed and I was like, man, Fallout was fucking great. Anyway, won't say too much. Then I was like, I'll just put it on. I'll see how I get through. If I fall asleep, maybe it won't be that good. Put it on.
There's no chance you fall asleep during
I
that
was
movie.
fucking hooked. Holy, from the opening sequence to the AI shit. Sorry, this is 7, not even talking about 8. But from the opening sequence of 7, the AI shit, I was just like, oh my fucking God, what is happening? I was getting near the end. It hit about 3 a.m. because it's a 2.5 hour.
Yeah,
I think
movie.
I took maybe a short break in there. It was hitting about 3 a.m. I must have finished Fallout later, and I looked out and I could see the sun rising when Dead Reckoning Part 1 finished. I could see the sun rising, and I was like, "Fuck! Do I just stay awake and watch the next part? Because I have enjoyed that so fucking much.
You want to find out what happens next.
And I am genuinely gutted that I didn't watch it because I wanted to talk about it. But that's how fucking good the build up was. So to hear you be like, oh, it's actually...
Well, no.
It's not a bad film.
No.
I get that.
For example, you can go onto Instagram or TikTok. I did a full review of the movie. On Letterboxd, I gave it 4.5 stars. I
Still
think.
great.
4.5. The movie is fucking incredible, which says a lot about what we're still to talk about. For me, the issue is the first 50 minutes, which is a mad thing to say, the first 50 minutes of that movie, because it's 2 hours and 50 minutes, I think would detract from multiple rewatches for me.
Yeah.
The thing about this franchise is I think it's infinitely rewatchable.
Yeah.
For example, when we get to Rogue Nation or Fallout, I've maybe seen those movies 10 times plus because I find them so infinitely rewatchable because they are so streamlined in what they want to achieve and they don't mess around too much with getting there. But for Final Reckoning, it's trying to consolidate so much because it's trying to consolidate minus Mission Impossible 2, 6 other movies into this. It's relating back to other movies, which I won't say in which way because I'll spoil it for you. And then it's trying to end its own story that it's set up in Dead Reckoning with the entity. There's just so much for it to like try and steer. It's like an oil tanker almost of just so much that first 50 minutes is just...
I can imagine it's very exposition heavy.
Oh, it's the most insane
Because there's a lot... Because by the end of Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I think we should just call Movie 7 from now on, because that's a stupid name.
Just call it Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning. From Dead Reckoning, like, it finished and I was fucking great, but I was like, man, there's a lot to do in the next film. Like, there's a lot to do in the next film.
And when it gets to that, there was a moment, because I went to see it in IMAX. See that movie in IMAX if you can. Holy fuck. There's definitely a moment just before it kicks in, and this is 50 minutes in, I need to see again. I was like, I'm starting to feel a bit of the fatigue here. Like, if I have to listen to them explain what they're going to do one more time, if I have to hear Benji go like, this is this, and we're going to do this, I'm going to like stop. And then just as I got to that point where I'm like, I can't listen to any more exposition, they went, okay, we're now doing like the Mission Impossible. I was like, wow, this is the coolest fucking thing. They do a thing in a submarine that I'm like, this is one of the greatest set pieces they've ever done.
The Sevastopol.
And the Sevastopol. But it's because that 50 minutes leading up to it is so, I think, and almost debilitating that it will decrease my rewatches in a way. And so I had to put it here in the ranking.
Cool.
And that's what's brought it here. So next up, we are into
we did 2.
Ghost Protocol. Final Reckoning.
Okay.
In 5th place is Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, thank God. Honestly, I was getting to the point there where I was like, I'm surprised you put it so high.
Here's where I have to come off with this. Is for the longest time, this was my number 1.
Really?
Yes. And obviously now it's gone down to 5th place, but it was my number 1. And that's when I'd watched the original trilogy, because I've been watching these movies since fucking day one, people. Since day one. That's the best of that original trilogy, I think.
100%. I would agree with this. Well, I mean, you're putting Mission Impossible 1 above, which means...
There'll be reasons for that.
Doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?
Because my brain works like this. I rewatched Mission Impossible 3 somewhat recently, which I'm glad I did because that really ties into Final Reckoning. It's a very J.J. Abrams movie.
Yes.
The lighting in that movie is disgusting.
Yellow. So much yellow. So much like ombre yellowy.
Yes.
Everything's coated in this like
so of its time
yellow.
And then when you add on the fact it was shot on film and then you add that yucky colouring, I'm just like, oh, everything's awful to look at. And there's like a weird graininess to it. And you're like, oh, it's gross. Who filmed it like this? And then you add in the J.J. Abrams lensy flare and you're just like, oh. But... and the set pieces aren't that great. You may be thinking, why has he put it this high? The character work. The character work.
Benji gets introduced. You have the whole Ethan Michelle Monaghan like marriage stuff. It's trying to. I gotta say the marriage story with Ethan Hunt 100%. Like him, like the start point where it's like he's at that. No, start point's the end of the film. Great, love that. Love the mishmash of time. Cuts to him out of the game.
Yeah,
he's just at a fucking boring snoozy party. He's talking to a man and his wife and the wife's girlfriend. And he's like, when they changed the road systems in America, they put down the new tarmac. And the thing is, with the tarmac, you got to lay it down straight. You play it down straight. And he's like, even I was a bit like, man, that's boring as fuck. But I was like, Tom Cruise is selling it. And then the husband, who's clearly like, oh God, what a boring guy. And the two women are like, nah, I'd fucking marry him. I was like, I'd marry him from that chat as well. Like, he made tarmac sound fucking awesome.
He's like, tell me more about tarmac.
And then, you meet the wife and all that kind of stuff.
And then
very good.
The dynamic, and
it also adds such a fucking great layer because she doesn't know, does she? She at that point has no idea he's a spy, has no idea about his past. He's just come in and been.
He's just like, oh, I'm a working finance,
which adds a fucking like, and it's a really excellent wrinkle to that whole film. Especially because you know how it's going to end because the beginning of the film, you know what I mean? Like the intro is the beginning.
And like, how are we going to get here and how is she going to end up in this situation? Sorry, I'm just trying to find out because there's two characters in this who once again never reappear in this franchise.
Well, Philip Seymour Hoffman dies.
You got Billy Crudup appears. So Billy Crudup was, or is it Lawrence Fishburne? One of them was the Anthony Hopkins character from Mission Impossible 2. But Anthony Hopkins didn't want to come back. There's so many people that have been in and out.
They all pop up, yeah.
So I think Lawrence Fishburne is his replacement.
Yes.
Maggie Q gets introduced in this film and then never appears again. You got Lawrence Fishburne. I can't find, there's the little Irish boy. I think he's trying to be Irish. Exactly. He's in the movie, but he's kind of like gone again. He's so tan in this movie and sweaty. It's weird. But the thing that makes this...
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Tiny wee boy. He's put in his pocket.
Tiny pocket.
But it's the character work, the story, and Philip Seymour Hoffman that absolutely make this movie. It's a lot darker, this movie.
It's a lot darker.
Very violent.
I mean, the bomb's in the brain.
Like, the way Kerry Russell's head, like, just fucking... And like the noise as well that it makes of kind of like the cracking of her skull.
Well, it's cracking. It's also just very fine. Like, it's such a quick moment of just like, she's like, oh, my brain's sore. And he's like, don't worry, we're going to get... And then it's just done. And he's like, oh.
Because you're also thinking, oh, it's Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt.
He'll save her.
It's good. Her brain just goes... And it's like, oh, God, that was awful.
Yeah,
and this is the beginning. Like, what are we going to do? And then Philip Seymour Hoffman, because he is the greatest actor who has ever worked, the delivery of his villain is... So chilling.
Cool. So cold, calculated. So, yeah. And annoyingly, I said to you at the time, I was like, I do feel like he's underutilized. I feel like for me, Mission Impossible 3, I really enjoyed the intro. I really enjoyed the background stuff. I felt Mission Impossible 3 got weaker as the film went by. I feel like the end of that film, I was kind of like, I just want to see Philip Seymour Hoffman doing evil villain shit. But because he's not the like... James Bond, like, you know what I mean? He's not like a James Bond, I am the guy holding the gun kind of villain.
I mean, he was a guy holding the gun at one point.
But like, he's not like this bombastic, he's always the kind of the mob leader guy behind, hey, you shoot these dickheads.
Yeah.
And it's good, but I don't know. I felt Mission Impossible 3 for me tailed off annoyingly.
I love the way that movie progresses.
Yeah.
Especially because of Philip Seymour Hoffman, and especially just with Ethan, and because originally, for what Tom Cruise saw with this franchise was he thought, I'm maybe going to stop after 3, and if I do bring it back, I want to spin it off with someone else. And so this was his way of kind of like maybe sunsetting the character with a villain who is just like, I don't think I want to do this if this is what is like is out there now. Because that scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman's got Michelle Monaghan like hostage, and he's like, I'll do a countdown.
Fucking great.
And he's like, 3.
That is great.
And he's like, no, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do 2. And he's like, stop. And then the way he tries to reason with him, he's like, okay, stop. Just stop. And he goes, 1, and blows it. And you're like, what the fuck? Like,
fucking
it's
great.
So good. Also, the scene on the plane where he's like, what's your name? And he's like, you'll learn nothing. And he's holding him out. He's like, Ethan. Comes back up and just calmly goes, so your name's Ethan. It's like, he's such a fucking menacing villain.
He's great. He's Philip. I mean, PSH, man. PSH will fucking
he
nail
was the
every role.
best.
It's a shame he went.
Shame he went, yeah.
R.I.P. PSH.
And then that's with Ghost Protocol. They brought in Jeremy Renner because the thought was going to be Ethan, i.e. Tom Cruise, will step away. Jeremy Renner will take over the franchise.
Was that what it was going to be?
But because that movie did so well, directed by Brad Bird, who did The Iron Giant and Tomorrowland, produced and helped by Christopher McQuarrie, that movie did mad numbers, and Tom Cruise is like, I'm back,
Let's
baby.
keep going.
I ain't going nowhere. So that's Mission Impossible 3.
I can appreciate it. My ranking so far would have put 3 lower, but it's
Okay.
because I enjoyed 4, 5, 6 so much.
Yeah. I think I just have a soft spot in 3 because I've loved it for so long.
Yeah.
And I always struggled with Ghost Protocol and like
I can understand. Talking about it now, I think 4 got a bit bundled up in 5 for me.
Yeah.
Because I think now that I'm thinking about it, in my brain, I've got 4, 5, 6, like I said, as a trilogy, which means I'm kind of bundling 4 in with 5. But you're right. I think 4 is maybe not significantly weaker, but I do agree actually looking back.
like set piece wise incredible. It's just the story doesn't tie it together for me, and the characters don't tie it together.
I can understand why you put 3 above. And like now that we're talking about it in person finally, yeah, I can see what you mean with 3.
Especially when you follow up 3's villain with 4's villain. I'm like, who was even the bad guy?
Yeah,
in the
that's
movie?
true. That's very true. You know what? I can respect that.
Thank you.
I can respect
Look at
3
us
above 4.
being respectful.
I can get
you can
that.
be respectful too in the comments if you want. In 4th place is
So
Mission Impossible 1.
Cool. I'm happy. You know what? I'll take this. So far, yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to do it first, or can I say my piece first?
You may go first.
I enjoyed Mission Impossible 1, like we've already said. It's iconic. There's no getting away from it. It is what it is. I'm going to gripe first and then say what I liked secondly. It takes itself too seriously. It didn't have enough of a personality back then. However, I do think from looking online and reading up about it, that what it did seemed to have, it was aiming to be much more like the TV show, but then fucked off all the long-standing fans because of what it did with the characters. But I do find it to be a much more serious approach and less bombastic and a bit more, the set pieces are good, but they're not quite as spectacle. But what I did like about it, the story's good. It's interesting. The masks are used sparingly and very well. Very, very well in the first one. The intro to the crew, which you're like, oh, cool. This is it. This is the cast. You got the guy in the chair. You got Ethan Hunt. You got the two in there, a family, the boss, and then pull the rug, like psych, the whole job.
So good.
Usually with the film, you'd expect the first job goes well, second job goes to shit. And it's just like, no, fucking look, there you go.
Like
he's on his own.
The way it all systematically falls apart in front of Ethan's eyes, and the way it's twisted to make him look like he did it, and so he has to go rogue.
Yep.
He's like
so good. So good. And then Ving Rhames turns up and Leon the pedophile.
Leon, no, it says Jean Reno.
Jean Reno, yeah, from Leon the pedophile.
We can talk about Leon the professional a different time.
Professional.
But
whoops, I got the name wrong.
Jean Reno, great fucking actor.
Jean Reno's a great fucking actor.
He's great in the movie as well.
He's fucking great. I texted you at the end of watching this one, and I said, and I'm so glad they didn't, because if they had, I would have, I think, lost significant credibility for the entire series. But after one, it definitely felt like this is the way the film, and this is kind of like, actually, this is a perfect example of where I thought these films were going to go, right? At the end of one, after who's the bad guy? John
Voight.
John Voight, thank you. John Voight is revealed to be the villain. And then they're
spoilers for a 1996
spoilers
movie.
for my Mission Impossible 1. John Voight's the villain, and then they're on that helicopter, and John Reno and John Voight are in there.
Jean Reno. Not John.
John Reno.
Stop saying John Reno.
John Reno and Jean Voight are both on the helicopter, and they're chasing down the fucking train. Excellent set piece, right? No denying it. But Jean Reno eventually gets blown up, and then John Voight gets thrown into the exploding helicopter. And this is where my brain was at the end of Mission Impossible 1. I text Gavin being like, if John Voight comes back, I'm going to fucking lose my shit. Because that's where the film, it felt like they were going to, at some point, 4 films later, be like, It's John Voight. He's back from the dead. He didn't die in the helicopter crash. He somehow, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And at the end of Mission Impossible 1, I was like, if it ever happens, Gav, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm fucking out.
All I'll say is,
I swear if he comes back in Reckoning, I'm going to, he can't.
I'm looking forward to you watching the final Reckoning.
He can't come. There's no way. If he comes back, it will ruin 7 films for me.
Here's where I stand.
But anyway, that's where I was at the end of Mission Impossible. I was like, I enjoyed that. I thought the set pieces were good. The story's interesting. It is truly iconic, but it feels like it's more interested in the gotchas going forwards, which then 2 absolutely did.
Two was like, well, we should just really do that.
Gotcha. Anyway,
for me, Mission Impossible 1, 1996, directed by Brian De Palma, the first movie franchise or first movie that Tom Cruise wanted to produce. He was like, I want that. I want to do that. Their approach was, now that the Cold War is over, how do spy movies exist? Yeah. And so this is their approach of like, instead of the enemy being outward, the enemy is inward. And so it's just like that whole setup of John Voight twisting them from in, destroying them from within, destroying their family from within. Brian De Palma is an incredibly underrated director.
100%. Like it's technically fantastic film. Sorry, just to kind of counteract everything I just said.
To go back on everything.
I just said, yeah, because nothing I said is ever set in stone. I just want to be liked. I'll agree with anything you say, Gavin. No, but to go back on everything I said, what I will say is if you take Mission Impossible 1 by itself, and I would argue actually that Mission Impossible 1 by itself is a better film than Mission Impossible 1 with 7 sequels.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you just watch Mission Impossible 1, fantastic. Utterly fantastic. John Voight dies at the end. Sean Reno's gone. Great.
The different way you pronounce Jean Reno every time. John Reno.
That was Sean Reno.
Or Jean Reno.
Jean Reno. Gin Rennie.
Gin Rim.
Gin Rummy. If you just watch Mission Impossible 1 and then never watch anything else, I think that's a better film.
Then if you
then start watching 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and I think Mission Impossible 1 suffers. But if you don't watch all the rest of them, Mission Impossible 1's arguably a better. Like, it's a weird kind of.
I can agree with that because if you know where those movies go and what they become, the first one seems very antiquated and limited.
Yep.
But
that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because this is something that I said to you earlier when I wasn't sure if you were going to finish watching these movies or not.
Yeah.
As Mission Impossible is one of the few franchises, and this is why I love it, and I think it's one of the best action franchises of all time, this is a franchise that has only gotten better. Which isn't how this is supposed to go.
It shouldn't.
Franchises like this, and the easiest comparisons would be the Bourne movies or the James Bond movies, because those are spy films as well, is franchises like this get worse over time.
They either get worse or they are so scattershot it's unreal.
Yeah, they just become so...
Like Bond's a great example. You can pick out any Bond film at random, fucking roll the die if it's going to be good or bad.
50-50.
Less than 50-50 every time. It's a crapshoot. You're just like, I'll take this one from the 60s. It's like terrible. I'll take the 2 films later, one of the best Bond films known to man. And you're like, what about the one after that? Dog shit again. What about the one after that? Masterpiece.
Because like if you take one actor, for example, say you take Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Sean Connery has one of the best Bond films ever made, but he also has multiple. One of them, he just dresses up as a Japanese person, and it's one of the worst fucking movies ever. Roger Moore never made a single good Bond movie, but then you get to Timothy Dalton, and he's like one of the best Bonds, but there's such an inconsistency.
Absolutely.
That to watch them all, there's like, oh, you're in that stretch, good luck. You've got
and then
3 or 4 bad ones.
Usually, if you follow any other film that has so many sequels, they usually end up getting worse and worse. They
usually end
diminishing
up
returns,
cannibalizing themselves,
becoming like flanderizing the characters.
They become like an echo of what was good.
And don't get me wrong, there is an element of that in Mission Impossible.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Obviously, it gets bigger and bigger. The spectacle gets more and more. However, it handles it so fucking well that you're like, I'm fine with this. You know what I mean? Like, the stakes get higher, and as the stakes get higher, the characters have to kind of get more and more fucking crazy.
And the set pieces have to get bigger. Because like the thing people talk about is Mission Impossible 1 is where Tom Cruise for the first time got his love for stunts, and it's the one where the fish tank explodes and he runs and jumps out the window and runs away from the water. It's not a big stunt, it's nothing crazy, but it was him. Brian De Palma said to him, the audience will like this better if they see your face, and they will believe it if they see your face. And Tom Cruise was like, interesting, because if you do that shot but do it from behind and it's him running away, it doesn't have the same effect. Plus you can't do a slow motion shot of that, because then you can be like, well, that's just stunt man.
Yeah, of course. So
that you see Tom Cruise there, and that makes Tom Cruise think if the audience believe it, then it's going to make them feel it more. And so that's the impetus to where he's hanging off of planes and he's diving into submarines, and the set pieces at the end of Final Reckoning are just brain melting when you consider the fact that like he's on one biplane, but he needs to be on the other biplane, and so he's going to get himself onto that, and he did it for real in real world with there was no.
And in Mission Impossible 1, he jumped through a window.
He jumped away from a fish tank
and done a trapeze.
Yes, but the look of that movie, the style of that movie, the introduction of that movie, it's very muted, and that, again, not a criticism. And it's iconic.
It's purposely muted.
But like that movie's it's still referenced, like we were talking about earlier, it's still referenced today. It's so iconic, and none of these movies could happen without that movie. And it gave Tom Cruise that power to be able to control and build the franchise he has.
My favorite bit, stupidly, in Mission Impossible 1 is when he's like, I need to figure out who this Job guy is. And then solves, quote unquote, the most convoluted nonsense dog shit puzzle I've ever seen. Like, when a film kind of presents you with a puzzle, and it's like, how would you figure out who Job is? And you're like, I would maybe have done X, Y, Z, but I understand how the main character does it. And he's like, well, his name's Job, and if I go to the Bible and I read this specific thing, it makes me think of X, Y, Z, and I'm going to put that into this, and I'm going to go to this email, and I'm going to email 70 different versions of the same. Just say you didn't have a clever puzzle and figure out a different way of doing it. Figure out a different way to dead drop the information.
I would definitely say the biggest flaw this franchise has, because I can't just say everything is great, is that when it gets away from itself, it gets away from itself.
It verges. It usually toes the line incredibly well between serious and good and excellent action, but it toes that line where the action can slip into silly and dumb, like razor sharp. And when we speak about Rogue Nation, which I feel like might be coming soon, there's two things I will say to you. One I love, and one that I actually took a video clip which I was going to send to you, and I thought, I'm not going to do it. I'll talk to him on the day. But it toes that line so well in the later ones until the very rare moments that it doesn't, and suddenly it kind of gets lost in. It's like, we are a spy film. Do a stupid Job Bible puzzle.
Yeah, there is.
No, don't. Just fucking just do something else.
It sometimes can handle complexity really well, and they know exactly how to shoot it and explain it to you. And other times it becomes so complex that they have to break it down to its dumbest ingredients and then spoon feed it to you. That was actually quite a decent analogy. Sometimes I'm great. Next, don't look at me like that. We're into top three.
Ooh.
Top three,
what
ladies and
left?
gentlemen. So
don't put them in order.
We've got Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning left.
Okay.
So I just gave them in the order that they've released.
Yeah, clever.
Not just a pretty face.
What's in third place?
Third place is Dead Reckoning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, we're at the point with the top three where it's like, you can't go wrong. Like I think putting any of these in the top spot is a completely valid argument. There's an argument to be made any which way here. All three of these films are fucking great.
When it comes to top three, if you weren't a fan of Mission Impossible, or you didn't care about continuity or knowing about things, if you were just to watch these three movies and nothing else in this franchise, you're going to have a fucking incredible time.
Yes.
Because all three of these films are just banger hit, banger hit, banger hit.
After 4, I think the way I watched these was 4 and 5 back to back. I then, as I said, watched 6 and 7 back to back last night because at the end of Fallout, I was just like,
More.
I want to watch another one of those. And I said I would, and it's late, but I'll do it. And then it was so fucking good. I was like, oh Christ, do I just not sleep and watch another fucking Mission Impossible film? I'm a dad, so the sleep, I had to.
I had to.
But that's how fucking good it was. What a testament to cinema that I was just like, I could just pull an all-nighter. And I'll just watch another movie.
It feeds back into what I talk about, which is these films are so infinitely rewatchable as well, because there's the larger story, sometimes complex, sometimes not complex. There's the characters that you know, you like, and you understand. You've got your Simon Pegg's Benjis, you've got your Ving Rhames, you've got your Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
You'll like
crazy Ving Rhames. When I text you and watching Mission Impossible, I was like, Ving Rhames, that's a fucking 90s actor I haven't seen in anything. And then he's in every film. I was just like, what a nice surprise. They just keep bringing Ving Rhames back.
I mean, Simon Pegg as well.
Because
J.J. Abrams emailed Simon Pegg being like, hey, do you want to be in Mission Impossible 3? And Simon Pegg was like, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And then he became the second most important character in the franchise. Like, the way him, I guess we'll get to more because I feel their connection Rogue Nation's a lot better.
Yeah.
But the chemistry those two actors have and the connection those two actors have, or those two characters have, is so like important to that franchise now, where Benji and Simon Pegg, I feel like they can just call Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt on their kind of shit in real life or not in real life, and it just works.
Yeah.
And seeing the growth of Benji from kind of man in a hobble, just being like, I'm little
well, just like
man,
guy
to
in
like,
a chair.
oh my god, I'm out in the field and I'm now integral to being in the field, and I'm not as good as Ethan Hunt, but I'm gonna do my best to be as good.
I believe in the cause, and we all saying the oath, and we all, like, he's a full integral member of the team, and it works, and it's fucking incredible. But yeah, so Dead Reckoning,
whoa,
holy shit!
I saw this again in IMAX when it came out. I remember I was texting you and Audio Boy after I came out of the film, just being like, did it again. Another absolute banger.
This. And it truly is. From the opening sequence of being on the submarine, they do the same thing that Red October does, where is it Red October?
Start in Russian,
it kind of to let you know they're all speaking Russian, but so you can understand it's in English. It's clever. It's a nice little trick.
Good. John McTiernan did that in Hunt for October, and then they've clearly just went, that's great.
We'll do that. Then the opening's fucking excellent.
So good.
Such
a good tone set as well.
It's tense as fuck. The submarines, there's a torpedo coming at them. They're getting their shit together, and then they're like, oh, well, there is no thing. And he's like, well, the machines are glitching, and it's like the machines don't glitch, and the captain's like, well, they have today. And then the torpedo appears again, and they're like, "Wait, what the fuck?
That's our torpedo, and it's coming for us.
It's coming back for us." And it's just like, what the? And you're kind of left with this, like, what the fuck is happening? And then it just gets better and better and better. The whole scene in the airport. Well, yeah. So no, I'm getting my film muddled. The whole scene in the airport, where they're looking at the cameras and their fucking Ving Rhames is like changing the faces of people to make them look like Ethan Hunt, and the police are like, "Oh, it's not him," and there's, again, another thing that I really, really enjoy about the Mission Impossible is it's not ashamed, and it doesn't ever hide away from the fact that it kind of knows its James Bond gadgets, the masks being a key one, is kind of goofy and a little bit stupid. And shouldn't really
also
work.
Impractical in most scenarios.
Yeah, so it shouldn't really work, but they keep coming back to it because it's obviously a staple thing. So that scene in the airport when, I don't know the name of the cop with the quiff.
Oh, I can't remember the actor's name. But what a quiff.
What a quiff. But he's like, they run up to get the guy, and he's like, are you Ethan Hunt? Or he's like, and the guy's like, but no, go on. It's a Frenchman, and he's just grabbing him by the fucking jowl.
Like trying to
and he's like, come here, Ethan. And then, the scene before that where Ethan Hunt breaks into the Shane Wiggum, and the scene before that where Ethan Hunt breaks into not the IMF, but the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, like,
and he gasses it,
the kind of CIA building place.
Oh, with a,
and it's the guy from the first movie that he sits across the table from.
Kildrich.
Yeah.
I've just watched it last night. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's Aldrich.
A lot of names to
Kildrich.
keep up with, but it's a cool callback.
Nice callback that he's back, and that bit is fucking. He's like, how are you going to get out of here? And then Tom Cruise turns around. He's wearing a fucking mask
of him,
and it's just like, oh, it's so fucking good.
And it's like the little tricks they use to like do the mask.
Well, I'm going to speak
as well.
Rogue Nation. Remind me.
But yeah,
But yeah, and it's just, and from that opening sequence. To the airport. The airport's integral, I think, to this film because it
such a cool
introduces
scene.
Gabriel. It introduces
Haley Atwell's character.
and
Also,
it introduces
the pickpocketing becomes such a thing in the movie,
which is fucking great. But yeah, and then the entity.
also tone wise, there's such a tone set in the airport because it genuinely feels like at any moment anyone could die. And this is a mission they might not be able to achieve. And it's like the way when Benji's found the wee nuclear device and he's just like,
oh, that whole fucking bit's incredible.
You're just like, it's asking me questions.
My seat.
It's learning about me. I don't know what's going on. And Ving Rhames is like, oh, Ethan, I can't keep up. And Ethan's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, where are the people? Like, we're out of our depth and we're a step behind. We're not supposed to be. And you're just kind of like, shit, what's going on? And then the way it ends with him like running across the Dubai airport like roof, and it's just like, shit, like, are we fucked?
Yeah,
like, are we not going to do this?
Good.
It sets that tone so perfect.
And it keeps you on edge the whole film. It really makes you care about Haley Atwell's character.
Good introduction. Yeah.
And it's a great introduction. And what I love about this film is that most films, I think, would be like, here's Haley Atwell's character. She doesn't know what's going on. She's a super spy. Do you know what I mean? Like, very quickly, it's like she doesn't know. She's just a thief, a pickpocket. She doesn't have a fucking clue. And then within, maybe 30 minutes, suddenly she's jumping on grenades or she's taking bullets. You know what I mean? She's become the whole film. Haley Atwell is just like, I'm fucking terrified for my life. I don't want to do what you're asking me to do. I appreciate the stakes. I appreciate if I don't do it, you're telling me the world's going to end. And I've seen for myself, so I feel obligated to do it. But I fucking hate this. And
also,
it's such a fucking great character.
Also, the smart thing about having that character is we're now by Dead Reckoning, we're in the 7th movie.
Yeah.
And for the audience, it can sometimes be a hard world to get into because there's so much that we already have established. So you bring in Haley Atwell's character who knows fuck all.
Yep.
She's the audience in a way.
Yeah.
And we can like, or not me personally, but other people who are
when
new
they're
to
explaining shit to Haley Atwell,
it
if that's the
makes
first time you've
sense
watched
why
it,
they're explaining it.
Yeah.
And if this is the first time you're watching a movie, you can attach to her and she can be your like route into
This is
it.
the first time you've watched a film ever. What a great entry to cinema.
I mean, yeah, and it's like the set pieces, the car chase scene in Italy.
That was that was the one bit of this that I
loved it.
That was the one bit of the whole film I think I maybe bounced off.
Do you know why I think I loved it?
Why?
Is because the same year that came out, Fast 10 came out,
right?
And they have a car chase scene in Italy.
Yeah,
but they don't have a car chase scene in Italy. They have a car chase scene on a soundstage. And they just CGI Italy around them. Whereas 2 months later, or every month later, I then watched Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, where they have a car chase in Italy, where there is a car chase in Italy, and where they are, minus the scene where they go down the stairs because you can't film there. Everything else, they just filmed it there in Italy, and I'm just kind of like, this is why I love this franchise.
I think the only thing, and it was maybe I just missed the moment. I don't know. It was late. It was early. I just didn't get. So he goes and gets the car. The car's an IMF car.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, sometimes I struggle to get used to these things.
Could be comedy bit. I liked it.
I think that was the one I was just a bit like,
I think it helps.
I didn't get it. I didn't get why he couldn't drive the car, why he was struggling with the car, why he made Haley Atwell drive.
I think for that moment, we'll come back to why he made Haley Atwell drive, because I love the reason they make her drive. But it's a great way, because so far, Ethan in Haley Atwell's eyes has been this kind of like unknown threat that she can't trust, and she doesn't know how to operate around Ethan.
Yeah.
And in that scene is the scene that helps bring them together, because they have to work together.
And I get that he saves her and
yeah.
Like I like,
but she doesn't trust him.
I like all the character stuff. It was just the actual car. And again, this is me over focusing on it, but I just didn't get why Ethan was like, I'm not good with the cars sometimes. I was like, but you're Ethan Hunt. What the fuck are you talking about?
I just like it. It's like
because it's like a little souped up car, and he thought it looks like a shitter, but it's fast. He thought it would just
be like a wee bum rummer, but it's actually like a electric monolith of a thing. I liked it. I thought it was going to be comedy, but it's like, I don't usually have this issue. Like talking about like it's a dud dick or something like that, you know? And then it's a great car chase.
Great car chase.
It's actually happening, and it's just the pace.
And I don't know the actress's name, but Paris in
Pom Clementif.
Pom Clementif.
She's in like Guardians
from Guardian
and
Mantis.
Stuff. Yeah.
Love her so fucking much. Her in that tank, just like maniacally
She's
laughing,
driving through shit.
You're driving through shit, knocking police cars out the way.
Also, this
and that payoff when Ethan Hunt then doesn't kill her, and he scares the fuck, like he beats her in hand-to-hand combat, doesn't kill her, smashes the pole against the wall just to let her know, like,
I could have
fucking killed you,
but I'm Ethan Hunt, and
but
I don't do that.
I'm a good guy. And then the payoff at the end.
Another thing we need to talk about with the car chase is, and this is something people don't talk about often, is Tom Cruise's acting when it comes to fucking up is so great. Like when he crashes or like the gear stick gets stuck and he's like trying to get out of the moment, his acting in that feels so genuine.
The whole
I'm like, shit.
Fair play to Tom Cruise. Like the whole film, even though he's doing crazy nonsense shit, feels like a real human being the entire time.
Because
he feels, I mean, don't get me wrong, he feels superhuman in the sense that it's like you should be dead 1,000 times over, but he's not, and you accept that within the realms of the movie. But he still just feels like when he's angry, you're like, he's angry. I get it. And when he's like, he never feels. How do I phrase this? He never, even though he knows he's going into an impossible mission and he goes in with the mindset that they're going to complete it, you always believe that he's kind of like, I'm struggling and I don't actually know what the fuck's going on, and I'm going to keep throwing myself at this because it's what I do. But I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to achieve this time. And you just believe it. Like, it's great.
There's an improvisation to the way he portrays Ethan thinking in the moment that feels so genuine, where like when something goes wrong or they're surprised by something, the way he reacts, you're like, that feels like a genuine, just like, fuck, do that. There's a moment in Ghost Protocol where like the scene, like they're in the Burj Khalifa, they're trying to do the exchange, something goes wrong and he's like, shit, and he just launches a table and it feels so just like, throw. It doesn't feel like a planned thing. And that's like in any situation where like he's in a car chase or he's going into a submarine, and when things inevitably go wrong, the acting in the moment, again, it's not there's not a lot of depth to this character or the performance necessarily, but when he's performing in those set piece action moments, it feels so real.
It just feels
so
legit,
genuine.
I can get behind that.
And the most mental thing that I still can never wrap my head around, because I love watching the behind the scenes of these movies, especially how they make some of this shit, is take Tom Cruise, one of the set pieces, like when he's driving the car around Italy or when he's driving the motorbike off the cliff at the end of the movie. He's having to train months in advance. And then at some point he has to drive a motorbike off of a mountain.
And then parachute.
And then release the motorbike and parachute. And he does that like 20 times to practice. And then on top of that, he has to act. And as the character and how the character would react to things. And you're like, that's a whole other level of mental.
Because, and it is crazy. And there's no fucking denying it. But I think it's, again, it's one of these kind of moments in Final Reckoning where you just accept, not Final Reckoning, Dead Reckoning, where you just accept it because it's the film. And I loved it. It might have taken me right to the edge, right to the very edge
like
of
being able to invest.
Being able to invest, where I was kind of like, and this is 2 points. First point, the film always does a fucking great job of genuinely, and I really mean this, everyone who listens to this podcast or watches it will watch films. It's very difficult sometimes to get through a film where you're like, the main guy's not going to die. The main guy's not going to die because it's a Mission Impossible film. Mission Impossible is one of the few franchises where I genuinely, multiple times throughout these 7 films that I've watched, have just been like, holy, is he going to die?
Or be mortally wounded?
Or is something going to, like, surely, and it never does. And even in the back of my head, I knew that because it's a film. But it leads me to believe so many times like any of these characters are up for grabs, any one of them, and that's great because it just gets buy-in.
I mean, this is the franchise where so many characters have died. Like over like Mission Impossible 3, Kerry Russell dead right there.
Gone.
Just like
But yeah, in Dead Reckoning, the bit where he does the cliff jump and the whole gag of Benji being like, just keep going up, man.
Yep, you're almost there.
And he's like, what are you? He's like, well, you jump off the cliff and then you'll parachute onto the plane. And it's train, sorry. And you've got Hayley Atwell as the White Widow on the train. She's doing her shit, and it's all about to go to fucking crap, and she's about to get shot. And just before there's that cutaway gag where he's like on the parachute, he's like, I don't think I'm gonna make the train, and he's getting blasted by wind, and he's going at rapid speed, and it's just this really tense moment where Hayley Atwell's like turning to get shot by a henchman, and he comes crashing through the wall of the train.
It's like a Family Guy bit or something like that.
So fucking stupid. Like I genuinely think that brought me as close as it ever has brought me to being like, oh come on,
yeah.
But I was still just like, yeah, it's Ethan Hunt. Like he's fucking immortal.
I do wish they hadn't had him crash through the window.
It's right because this is the thing. It's not the window. He doesn't crash through the window. He just smashes through an entire wall of the train.
Yeah,
it's too much.
It's too much.
If he'd come through, maybe if they'd made a point of like, and this cabin of the train has a glass wall for some fucking reason. It's just something
to explain.
It's a rich man
which
train.
They're usually quite good at doing.
But he just blasts through the wall of a train.
Yeah.
I was a bit. That was the one where I was like,
I feel like there was another.
But then it picks it up again so quickly.
Another way to approach it.
Yeah.
But I guess they just needed to get him there. So they're like, fucking the wall's a bit weak.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole train sequence as well is fucking incredible.
And then the last crane sequence where they're climbing up the cabin. Fucking
And it's another perfect example. I've talked about this with Nolan before of just like, hey, we're in the middle of downtown Chicago and we need to flip a truck. How do you want to go about this? Christopher Nolan, he goes, we're going to flip a truck.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it's like, hey, we need to drive a train off of a track into and explode into ground. How do you want to do that, Tom and Chris McQuarrie? We're going to drive a train off a fucking bridge, and like obviously there's no one on the train, but we're going to drive a train and we're going to crash the train.
Just do it. Practical effect.
Or like, we're going to have a fight on top of a train, Tom, so we'll just get a carriage, put it in a soundstage, and we'll put... No, we're going to run the train down the track, and we're going to fight on top of the train. And you're just like, yes!
We need to move on, because we've talked about this one a lot, and we've got two more to talk about. But I do want to just very quickly mention that the villain, Gabriel, something Morales...
Just Gabriel.
But the character's name, Morales, I can't remember, the actor's name, sorry. But in the film, Gabriel...
Good, isn't he?
He's... maybe not doesn't trump Philip Seymour Hoffman, but he's up there. The whole film, he's just got that cool, calm, collected. I know what I'm doing.
Ahead.
I'm one step ahead.
You're fucked.
Yeah,
He's also really cool.
Yeah, really.
And
he's got a cool voice.
Yeah, and it's just like his entire the way he carries himself is just so just kind of like, Ethan, come on, it's not going to work.
It's fucking great.
Also, we'll talk about her more in the upcoming. One of the upcoming films. I don't know if it's going to be second or first, but Rebecca Ferguson, Elsa Faust.
Yeah.
Her death in Dead Reckoning fucking ruined me in the cinema. Because it's just when like Ethan's running for her and the way the music's playing and the fight's playing out as he's doing that fucking run.
And she's been in the film so much up to that point, and it's, she's always been like, she's a good guy, but sometimes she seems like she's betrayed them and that she never has. And there's been so many like back and forths by that point where maybe she's a villain, maybe she's not. Oh, she's a good guy, and she's an integral part of the team. Yeah, no, I was with you. I was like, no way.
And I suppose we can use that as a transition into our second spot, which is Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Elsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson introduced in this film. If for any reason they had decided, or Tom Cruise had decided, I don't want to continue to do these movies, or I'm just a bit old and a bit tired. If her character had stuck around, I wanted her to take over. She was my second favourite character in his franchise, behind Ethan Hunt. Rebecca Ferguson's performance is just so cool.
Yeah.
And she's
cool. She's quiet. She's got this element of like, I don't need to be up in everyone's face like Ethan Hunt is, because I'm like, and arguably a better spy than Ethan Hunt.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like she's technically better. She knows what she's doing. She never second guesses herself.
She feels as capable as he is at doing anything. Like, you believe that she could do the things that he's doing.
It's like that gag in Shaun of the Dead where they bump into the other team, and the other team is like a better version of them, of the main cast. And she's kind of like that with Ethan Hunt. It's just that she's not the main character.
Because every time she shows up, like in Rogue Nation, for example, her introduction in the Opera House, which is a set like
fucking incredible.
Incredible. The way that entire sequence is
with
just
2 snipers, and he's trying to decide which one of these is going to kill the guy, and how do I'll trust that she's not aiming for a kill shot. Editing's fucking
so
great.
perfect. You know where everyone is at all times.
So fucking
everything
good.
makes so much sense in your head. They don't even have to say it. You could just see it. It's a perfect example of this franchise, because Christian McQuarrie and Tom Cruise have talked about this a lot. Silent films, your Buster Keatons, your Charlie Chaplins, they're such an influence on this franchise, because once the exposition is done and you understand the mission is to get here, to get this thing and get out.
There is a lot of show not tell in Mission Impossible. Yeah, you're right. Until you've said that, and now I'm like, oh yeah, like once they've explained what's going on, they're very happy letting the action explain itself. This was the one I wanted to say to you though. I genuinely took a screenshot of the moment at the beginning. So Benji's like, I'm opening the door, and then he opens the cargo door, and it's a gag. That one I like. And then he's like, wrong door. Benji's, oh shit, sorry, I'll get this next one, Tom. And then Ethan opens the door that Ethan's next to, and it's this smash cut of Ethan getting sucked in. Holy fuck! I genuinely almost died laughing when I watched that. It's so comical. It's so fucking funny. And I was like, I know they're playing these bits for gags, but is that bit meant to be as funny as it is?
That's, I guess, similar to what we talked about in Dead Reckoning, where he crashes through the side of the chamber. Just like, this is just skirting the line of like, is this right? Mental opening of a movie, just to be like, I hate Simon Pegg's delivery of it, where he's just like, oh my God, when he's like on the train. It feels like Troll 2 in a way. Like that guy's like, oh my God, they're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my God. But him on the side of a plane. And then you watch the behind the scenes, and like, Tom, we need you to be on the side of the plane, so we'll get a plane, we'll put it in a sound stage, we'll set it all up. No, I will attach myself to the plane and we will fly it up, and I will then act on the side of this plane. Fucking great start to the movie. The Opera House scene, the structure of it, incredible. Brilliant.
So the one with the dam as well, where he goes underwater. And
then you've got
that was the one I wanted to talk to you the most in the whole of Rogue Nation. That scene where they're like, well, trust me, he's Ethan Hunt, he can hold his breath for 2 minutes. And Ethan's like, yeah, and then a minute to do it. And he's like, yeah, you can do it for 3 minutes. And it's this really nice moment where Benji's like, he's Ethan Hunt, he's basically Superman, he'll be fine. And Ethan's like, will you stop fucking making this worse for me? What if I can't do it? Great moment. Then they do it. And again, I know I said it in the last film, but again, it's one of those perfect moments where it's like, are they going to kill Ethan Hunt right?
Is he going to make it?
Is he dying? Because he fucks it. He runs out of oxygen and he doesn't quite manage it.
And Rebecca Ferguson
comes in and saves the day. But that whole sequence, I sitting in my chair watching the film, and I was just like, oh, this is fucking horrid. So good though.
I think, is it after that? I'm trying to remember what leads into the set piece, but it's when Ethan and Benji are in the car, but Ethan's like disorientated and fucked up. I can't remember.
Yes, yeah. So that's because he's had the oxygen
hypoxia kind of thing. And watching Ethan miss like when he tries to like jump over the car,
and
he
falls. And Benji's like,
Are you okay, man? And then when he just like buckle up and stuff, he's like, why? He's like, because we're just gonna fucking do this.
It's so good.
Or when they crash into Jeremy Renner and Ving Rhames, and they're both like, I love like when they again like the Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, like bring the comedy into the action as well.
Rogue Nation is because after I'd say Rogue Nation, Fallout's definitely got an element of it. I'd say that what I've seen of Dead Reckoning, it's more serious, right? It's got that ridiculous trains moment which I've mentioned, but for the most part, it's definitely kind of being like, we're going back to spy. We want it to be awesome set pieces. We want there to be an enigma, and there is an enigma, and it's a very good, very very good film, and it all works. But what I loved about 5 and 6 is the comedy. When they bring it in, it lands, and it rarely misses. And I
think it's another perfect example of, by that point, they know all these characters. Like the writers and Tom Cruise, Christian McQuarrie, they understand the characters and how their dynamics play off each other, and the actors know. So you're Simon Pegg and Tom Cruise, they know like the best way to play off each other. And it just feels like a franchise that knows what it is from every angle.
There's the other bit I fucking loved in Rogue Nation, is when they're talking about the plan and Benji's like, and I'll put on a mask, and he's just buzzing because he's going to put a mask on, and it does that thing where he's talking about the plan and it shows you the classic spy thing where it shows you the plan playing out in the perfect way.
The plan will never play out this way,
but it does it. And then they've got the mirror shot. Excellent mirror shot. Maybe you don't know this. I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast. I am a lover of a good mirror shot. I think if you pull off a mirror shot, Sucker Punch does an excellent mirror shot. The Triangle, if you've never seen Triangle, which is a very minor film.
2 deleted scene.
Terminator has that excellent. I love a mirror shot. That one where Benji's putting it on and then it spins around, and then in the mirror you've got the actor and Tom Cruise standing there. Just perfect. It's one of those impossible, quote unquote, impossible shots. They manage to pull off excellently. And they go through that whole sequence and he's like, and I'll just walk through and I'll walk the walk. And then they're like, no. Because the scanners don't just look at the face. It's the walk, it's the stance, it's the weight, it's everything. The mask won't work. And it's such a very quick and easy way of being like, so we're not doing the masks in this film because that one scanner. And it's, in universe, they just explain why they're not doing something that they've been doing for films and films and films and films and films, because the director was obviously like, nah, I don't want to do the masks in this film, so we'll just write them out. And I was like, fucking good on you. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's an integral piece of the film and it would have been so easy to have a mask sequence, whoever was in charge was like, nah, fuck the masks.
This is the most oh, you're tangled. This is one of like the best things that could have happened to the Mission Impossible franchise, is that Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie found each other.
Yeah.
Because Christopher McQuarrie, this is the first one he directed. He consulted in Ghost Protocol, and from Rogue Nation on, he then directs them all. And he gets this franchise, and he and Tom Cruise get set piece action.
Yep.
Maybe better than anyone fucking else. Yeah. The way they're able to construct, shoot, edit, and deliver. Just like the Opera House in Rogue Nation is a perfect example, but there's other ones coming up in Fallout. Spoiler alert, that's going to be number one. They build it, they tell you it, and then they let it play with saying almost nothing. For example, in Final Reckoning, I won't spoil it, there's a set piece where they set it up and they tell you everything you need to know. That set plays out. It's maybe just over 10 minutes, 2 words are spoken in that entire 10 minutes, and it just plays it. And you don't need any words. And it's like...
The geometry of a scene and the geography of scenes that they set up is just always perfect, and it always makes sense, and nothing's ever wrong. So good.
And then the ending, the thing I love about Rogue Nation is that ending, the villain they've set up throughout, and they capture him in the plastic box.
He's a fucking great villain.
So good. Because you genuinely believe he's going to win. Yeah. Because he's so ahead.
They do love a cool, calm, collected villain. Yeah. But watching him at the end chasing him down, they get him in that box and he loses his shit. And it's the first time in the whole film where he's like, and he starts blasting Tom Cruise, and he turns, and then Benji walks in, or is it the other way around? I can't remember. But he's just shooting all of them, and they're in like, you're the one in the box now, dickhead. What are you going to do?
You're the fucking loser. Sean Harris is the actor.
Sean Harris.
He's so good.
So fucking good. So fucking good.
And then this, of course, now brings us
to Fallout.
To number one.
Honestly, if you hadn't put this at number one, I was going to say you're wrong. I was going to argue it. I was going to fight you on it. I'm going to come out and say it right before you, man. Fallout is the best Mission Impossible film. I know you just put it at number one. He's not wrong. It's fucking incredible.
This movie is perfect.
Yes, 100%. The introduction of Henry Cavill as a foil. What?
Your pronunciation of
Henry Cavill. Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill's. The introduction of him as a foil to Ethan Hunt's, Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt.
He's the hammer.
Incredible.
To the
but he's just so fun. And I didn't know this. So I went in as blind as possible. I hadn't watched these trailers since maybe I'd seen them in the cinema years and years ago. So I was watching this and I was like, he's a big name, but is he just going to be the replacement Tom Cruise? Maybe a villain? Meh. The whole first half of the film was just fully sold on the fact he was just there as
he's a new like Jeremy Hunt type.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
The new Jeremy Renner. And I just was fully sold, fully believed in it. When he turned, and he's speaking to the villain, not Lane.
Sean Harris.
Yeah, I'm
character.
trying to think of the character's name in the. Is it Lane?
Because
in the
remember,
film?
like Simon Pegg's masked up in that one.
Yeah, fucking. Also, another fucking great sequence. Like, and again, when 4, 5, 6, and 7 and 8 finally do use the masks, because they use them sparingly, and when they do use them, they use them incredibly well. I was genuinely caught off guard.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. So this is the reveal of Henry Cavill's character, and he's like, then he's going to move on. They're going to escape, and then
Yeah, the two bad guys. Are
and
about
when
to
Henry
escape.
Cavill goes, and it's just a bunch of you guys running around in bloody masks. Rips off his mask, and he's like, "Fuck, I've been done." I was like, "Ah!"
It's such a great reveal. It's
so
such
good.
a satisfying reveal because it's how it feels like it's an audience reaction through
It's
the character
so
of just being like,
good.
you and your masks. Oh, you fucking dicks. They're like, you got me. Like,
And Benji then says like, "Sorry, mate, nothing personal," which is the line Henry Cavill said before, and you're just like, "You fucking." Anyway. So the first half of Fallout. Sorry, I'm just gushing.
Go for it,
You
go
have
for
so
it, go
much.
for it.
The first half of Fallout is incredible. It's like you say, a perfect setup, right? It brings in the intrigue. It brings in the thing. The plutonium's missing. The fucking fake scene with the news and the guy with the bomb, and he's like, my manifesto. Well,
Walls drop
it doesn't
down.
matter. I've already beaten you guys.
Yeah, also,
Here's my manifesto. You
I remember
dumb
watching that being like,
fucks.
holy fuck.
I was genuinely watching it like so they fucked it. Like they've already fucked it. They should have gone for the plutonium. This is going to be a crazy fucking thing to come back from. Dan dan banana. That's James Bond.
James Bond.
Whatever it is, and then the walls come down. The walls come down, and it's like, psych, dickhead. That's the guy in a mask. You've been fucking had. We've got your manifesto. We know how to defuse your fucking bombs now, you dumb cunt. Fuck you. We're IMF. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
We've already won and the movie just started.
What the fuck is happening? Ah! So, incredible setup. That's a fucking great sequence. And I would say the entire setup of the film leading you to like, how are they going to get the plutonium back? Where are they going to find it? Lane's won. The apostles are on top. They're already ahead. 2, the fucking scene in the bathroom where Henry Cavill reloads his arms. Holy fuck. That was the
What a
only bit
fight
of
scene.
that was the only bit of the film I did genuinely remember. When he'd done it, I was like, this is the bit. That fight scene's fucking incredible. All of it. Incredible.
Took them
incredible.
4 months or 3 months to shoot that.
All incredible. Then Henry Cavill gets revealed as the villain, and the second half, you would think if a film's going to front load itself so fucking perfectly,
That it's gonna slow
It's
down.
going to slow down, or it's going to slip, or maybe it's not going to make as much sense, or you're going to have to accept that we're going for pure spectacle now and stop thinking about it. But then they just give you a second half of like sirloin Wagyu motherfucking steak. It's incredible, and it never stops being good.
It never misses.
Like for the entire 3 hour runs, 2 hour 50, 2 hour 45.
It's a long one again.
It's another long film, but just the whole thing, you're just gripped.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours, gripped, utterly gripped. Everything about it. I just loved it. I was just completely swallowed. I was completely sucked in, completely swallowed up. All the family shit kind of coming back from Mission Impossible
bringing
3.
that back in.
Nice fucking like end.
Also well handled as well. Though. It
Incredibly
makes
well
sense
handled.
why she's there and why Sean Harris
Yep.
brought her there.
Like all fucking great. When they don't think they've got it, and like we'll get to the but like there's a few moments in that when Tom Cruise is off chasing Henry Cavill in the helicopter, which I'll talk about in a second. But you've got Ilsa who's there, and she's trying to defuse the bomb with Ving Rhames, and he's talking them all through it. And he's like, "Look, I don't fucking know. Like we've done as much as we can. Go to your husband." Like in the film, in all these characters, just like, look, at this point, just go and spend your last moments with someone you love, because I honestly don't know. Cut to fucking Ethan Hunt in a helicopter chasing Henry Cavill's character. I don't even know Henry Cavill's character's name. I don't care.
I just say the hammer.
The hammer. Doesn't fucking matter. He's chasing him down, and you're just like, oh fuck, are they gonna do that? Like, and again, it's such a fucking incredible trick for a movie to pull that they're the main characters. It's a good guy film. Obviously, they're gonna fucking do it, but you just don't know. And I genuinely didn't know the entire fucking film, the entire whole end sequence. He's chasing him in the helicopter. He drops the fucking payload. That sequence is incredible. He's like, eat this, you fucking dick. Drops the fucking nuclear bomb. It just misses him.
It's not a nuclear bomb.
What is? No, it's got one of the plutoniums in it, doesn't it?
No, I think it's just like stuff they're carrying.
Oh, okay.
'Cause they're back at where the base like hospital is. That's where it all is.
Anyway, the venom in Ethan Hunt. There's also, and as the film goes on, the character development between Ethan Hunt and the Hammer, because they just fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
They just fucking hate each other. The whole. In fact, sorry, we already skipped. There's too many good things. The opening sequence where they jump out and Ethan Hunt's like, "Have you got your fucking oxygen on? You dumb." Like, he doesn't say it, but he's like, "You got your oxygen on?" He's like, "What?" He's like, "There's no oxygen up here. You're gonna fucking depressurize." And Henry Cavill was like, "It's fine." And then the cargo door opens and it's thunder and lightning. And he's like, "Nah, this is off. Like, I've been doing this for 100 years. I'm Ethan Hunt. I'm saying it's off. We're not fucking there." And Henry Cavill was like, "I'm going. I know better than you. Fuck off." Jumps out, takes Ethan Hunt with him, and then they get hit by lightning instantly. And it's just like, oh, and he still saves him. And from that moment on, the antagonism between the two of them is just like,
and once
through the
again,
roof.
it's a perfect example of like, "Hi Ethan," or "Hi Tom Cruise, we need to jump out the back of this plane and shoot you coming down, but with like your options fucked up and all this kind of stuff. How do you want to go about that, Tom? We're going to jump out a fucking plane."
Jump out the plane.
Obviously.
That opening sequence, again, breathtaking. I was sitting in my chair, just.
And that's the thing of like, that one's early on, and you're like, "Oh, that's one of our big ones."
Yeah.
And then it just keeps delivering more
Constantly.
and more.
So yeah, we get to it. The venom Ethan Hunt says, "Eat that," whatever the fuck he says when he drops the pail,
Definitely
whatever.
doesn't say eat that, but I like
Whatever it is, the
Eat this, sucker.
The intentions there. He says it was so much venom, which I fucking loved. Drops the thing, misses, and he's like, "God damn it, I fucking missed!" And then Henry Cavill's like, "What the fuck?" They do their whole thing, and Ethan Hunt is like plowing him down in his helicopter. He's like, "Oh, his helicopter's about to explode," and he's like, "Don't fucking dive me down!"
Keep going.
And he manages to catch him, and then they're like standing there. And the moment Henry Cavill said it, and it's just fucking perfect, and he's just like, "Why won't you die?"
Why won't you just die?
And then they have the most excellent final boss face-off, like, just point blank. It's just fucking perfect. And it even calls back, funnily enough, we said it doesn't ever call back to Mission Impossible 2. It calls back to Mission Impossible 2, where he's going to climb the face of the mountain to finally get the receiver. It's a tiny callback.
I guess, yeah.
Get the receiver. They all decide to press the buttons on one, because it's like, if anyone was going to do anything, we all trained well enough to be like, we'll do it on one. Fucking good guys win. Roll credits. There's a million more incredible things in that film that we probably could talk about, but sorry, I've been so excited to fucking talk about that and just gush for a hot minute.
So
incredible.
From my perspective,
Incroyable.
I love this franchise. I will always love this franchise. It's one of the greatest action franchises of all time. Mission Impossible Fallout came out in 2018. Every single year since then, I have watched this movie. Maybe twice.
I think I'm going to.
Sometimes twice a year I've watched it. And it's because this is the one I've watched the most. This movie from back to front is faultless. It is so perfectly paced. It just moves.
Really
and
is.
There's never a single moment in this film where you're just kind of like, "Oh, I've got to get through this bit." Because you're always like, "Oh, this bit." And then the next, like, jumps out of the plane. "Oh, I love this bit." Then they get to the club and it's all cool and slick. Then they have the fight in the club. Then they have a second fight in a club.
Yep.
Then they go off and it's like, "Hey, now we're going to steal Sean Harris." And you get like the flash forward of Ethan like killing a cop and shit. But then it doesn't play out that way. And then there's the big chase scene and he's on the motorbike. And then Elsa shows up and you're like, "Fuck, she's back." And it just moves and moves and moves. And then
this is also the one that has the best, in all the Mission Impossibles, the best gag, which is Benji tracking Ethan on the tablet, and he's like, "Why is he running in circles?" As Ethan goes up a set of stairs, and he's like, "Go left," and Ethan's like, "I'm trying to go left," and he's like, "What the hell's going wrong, Ethan?" He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I had you in two." No, what is it first?
It's a delivery of, "I'm jumping out a window."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh shit, sorry, I had it in 2D." And he has to like flip it right.
And then it goes, and then something else, and he's like, "No, that's it." The first gag, he's like, "Oh fuck, sorry, left, Ethan." He's like, "Oh," and he's like, "I had the screen lock on," and you're like, "That's a funny gag."
Yeah,
screen lock.
Fuck up what you could do.
Then they take it to that next level, and it's just good. It works, and it's funny. He's like, I had it in 2D mode. And you're like, "Oh, you fucking dumb fuck, Benji."
I also, because the running in Mission Impossibles is important.
Yep.
It's always great to look at. I think
It genuinely looks like Tom Cruise has been like. Have you ever seen that clip of Christopher Reeves in Superman where he runs alongside the train, and it's because they've got him on like a crane, and he's actually like this far off the ground,
and if you can like speed him,
and he's just doing the running motion, and the train and the truck drives at 80 miles an hour, and it looks like he's running alongside a train. Tom Cruise looks like he's running like that, but especially in Fallout. But he's not. He's just running at full fucking pelt for minutes at a time.
It is the greatest action movie run. It is the greatest run of any actor. The way his arms, body, like the way he propels himself.
He's rapid.
Mission Impossible 3, the end, like the run he does in Thailand with that tracking shot, incredible. But the run in Mission Impossible Fallout is unbeaten because of it's all of the aspects of the story that's driving him to run, the character interplay that's propelling him on the run, and then the set piece moments of jumping out of the window, jumping over the thing and breaking his ankle in real life. All of these moments.
Yeah.
And where it culminates, where he gets there but doesn't get there. And the music and geography wise, you can see at one point where he started, where he's going, that everything just comes together in that moment. It's action cinema at its best because everything is just there in front of you, and you could mute it and just watch it.
The again, we already talked about the reveal, but when he eventually catches up with Henry Cavill, Cavill. When he eventually gets to Henry Cavill and he runs into the burn, he eventually gets up, and then Henry Cavill walks into the elevator and
he just looks.
Tom Cruise jumps in and grabs hold of the bottom of it. I was like, surely Henry Cavill heard that. And the film, it doesn't treat you like an idiot. It's like, yeah, of course he fucking heard it. Tom Cruise came running in at full belt. And it's just this shot of Tom Cruise being like, and he's holding onto the bottom of the elevator, and you're like, surely he can't not have heard that. And he looks up, and Henry Cavill's looking down, and then he puts the picture of Rebecca or whatever, the woman, the wife's name. Puts the picture down, and he's like, look, we've already won, dickhead. We know about her. Keep fucking coming, and we'll deal with her. Your choice. And Tom Cruise is like, so
good. And it's also something you talked about earlier, the dynamic between Henry Cavill's character and Tom Cruise's character, where Henry Cavill keeps just being an obstacle for Ethan, and Ethan's usually the person who overcome most obstacles, but he keeps getting pegged at the post. He keeps getting like just missed every time, and Henry Cavill just keeps getting away or keeps winning something. And so that time, by the time they get to the helicopter, there's this like vicious desperation in Ethan, just like, I'm gonna fucking get you, right? Like,
and it's
like helicopter failing be damned, I will get you.
And it's obviously because like in universe he's got the receiver, the only receiver that can stop the nuclear bombs, otherwise the bad guys win. So it all fits and it all works, but god fucking damn. And then that final fight scene, Why Won't You Die? Henry Cavill's beautiful face has been burnt up to fuck by helicopter oil.
Still looks hot as fuck.
Still looks hot as fuck. This was
arms.
And again, it's final boss fight, so I can't. Right? This is the one moment where I was a bit like, surely, come on, Ethan, you can do this. Henry Cavill's got him, and he's got him in a fucking headlock or something, and I was like, just slap him on his big burnt face, like, just, he'd fucking, no one's, you know what I mean? You'd be like, you motherfucker.
There's no morals in this.
Yeah, fucking at that point, like,
no
come
ethics.
on, Ethan. But yeah, and then just whip it, that cable and letting the fucking hook take him. So good.
It's kind of sad though, because I'm like, I want him to come back.
I was really hoping he was going to be like the next villain, but
well, still got Final Reckoning. We don't know.
They do love killing people in helicopter explosions.
Well, yeah, that's a great way to kill someone. Cinematic.
But yeah, it caps off what I would say is the peak trilogy, the peak Mission Impossible trilogy, perfectly. It's just great. It's like I know I kind of talked a lot there, and I apologize because I know you wanted to say a lot, but I really do hope that my excitement and joy was enough of an example, enough of a reason that anyone who's listening or watching this might be like, maybe I will go and watch Fallout.
Here's why I'm so happy to hear you gush like this, is because I've since 2018 been waiting for you to watch this movie, and I've been waiting for you to watch this franchise. And when I set out beforehand, like, Gary, can you watch all these for the episode? I was like, what if he doesn't like them? Because
after three films, I was like, I might have to just tell Gav, I'm not buying it, man.
I feel like
biting.
It would have crushed me if you didn't like this because of how much I love it, and then you would have used it against me in future because this is how you'd be like, yeah, Gavin, but what about Mission Impossible? You like those movies? But seeing you and hearing your love and passion for movies that I have been so passionate and loved for so long, and now that we can share in this and we can share it with you as well, like, it is one of the greatest action franchises of all
100%.
time.
I get the hype now.
And Mission Impossible Fallout, when people talk about action movies, that's the one that's at the top for me, above everything else, because what can you say better in regards to a movie than I have watched it every year since it's come out, and I right now after this recording could put it on and sit here and watch the whole movie again. If I catch it on TV and it's halfway through, I'm like, well, I'm finishing the rest of this movie now. It's one of those ones. It's like
my final thoughts, and this is again just a final little proof that I fucking I'm loved this season, this series of films. We're gonna finish recording this. I have to go to work tonight. I'm up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Ugh. And I'm genuinely considering, after getting home from work, of just watching Final Reckoning, because I'm so obsessed with that. I really want to see how it plays out.
You'll have to go to the cinema to watch that, obviously.
I really should.
Go to the IMAX. You're close by. Don't do anything wrong. Do it right.
I will.
Trust me, it's worth it.
I believe it is.
Watch. That's the other thing. You've not got to see these in the cinema. If any of these come back to the cinema, you should go see them in the cinema, because these are.
I basically got a cinema at home.
The closing out statement, because we have ran so much longer than we needed to run, is thank fuck for Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie for just making movies for the movies.
Yeah.
You know,
they're great action. 10/10. Give them a watch.
So good.
If you're not,
they're apparently going to work on a silent film together, and it's just going to be like maybe 2-3 lines of dialogue, and the rest of it's all unsaid.
Just action.
Fucking give me that. But yes,
wrap us up, Buttercup.
This has been episode 3 of season 4 of the Meandering Movie Podcast. That has been
Gary Coburn Boyd.
I have been the impossible Gavin. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on Instagram. There are reviews for Final Reckoning up there. There's also a ranking of Ethan Hunt's hair up there, because you need to know the ranking of the hair. And there's lots of other dumb fun shit. So yeah, jump down to the description, give us a follow. We have been
leave us ratings. If you're on Apple, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us an Apple rating. If you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. The ratings help; they bump us up. So please do, if you're listening, rate us wherever
you're on
you're
YouTube.
Listening.
Give us a like, leave us a comment,
and subscribe.
And subscribe, of course, subscribe. This has been the Meandering Movie Podcast. A wee hint for the next episode: we're going to talk about movie stars or not. We don't know. Bye, everyone.
Bye.